Hey everyone, so we are starting a new unit. We're going to start with function, operations, and compositions. First, we're going to look at operations and then later look at compositions because operations is a little easier than compositions. Um, so, with function operations, all we're basically doing is if we're multiplying, we're foiling, and then with all the others, we're just combining all of our like terms, and then that's going to be our answer. Okay, so let's do some examples. So let's say we have these three functions, f of x, g of x, and h of x. So for letter A, what they're wanting us to do is they're wanting us to get our f function and our g function and add them together. So that's all we are going to do. So I'm going to write down my f function. Let me zoom in a little. There we are. I'm going to write my f function. So 3x plus 2. And I'm going to add that to my g function, which is 2x minus 1. Right? So this is my, just in case you don't need to write this down, but that's my g function. This is my f function. Right? And all I'm doing is adding them together. So since I'm adding is easy because once you write them down, all you do is combine your like terms and there's your answer. So combining my like terms, I'm going to get 3x and 2x and combine those. So I'm going to get 5x. And then I am going to get my 2 and my negative 1, right? Because those don't have any variables, so I can combine those. And I'm going to get plus 1. So my answer when I add f and g, when I add those two functions, I'm going to get 5x plus 1, and that's my answer. Pretty easy, right? Okay, so if you notice on B, I have a little star next to B. That's because B is kind of the same thing as adding, but there's just one little step that we have to do extra. So I'm going to start the same way. I'm going to write my f function. So I have 3x plus 2, and I'm going to subtract that by my h function. So I have to do a parenthesis. Since I'm subtracting, I have to write a parenthesis around my h function. Okay, so don't forget that step. I made my parentheses a little too big. Okay, so what do you think I'm going to do with that negative, with that minus? So if you said distribute, then you're correct. So I'm going to distribute that negative. So I get 3x plus 2 because nothing changed. But now I'm going to have negative x squared minus 8. Okay, so I'm going to keep on going as usual. I'm going to combine all of my like terms. So I'm going to combine 3x. Oh, no, not yet. Okay, so I'm going to start from my highest degree. So my highest exponent, which is my negative x squared. So I'm going to write that. And I can't combine it with anything because that's the only x squared. Okay, so now I'm going to go down to my x's. So I have 3x, and I'm going to scan the rest of my polynomial. That is the only x term I have. So I'm just going to write it down, plus 3x. But now I can actually combine my 2 and my negative 8. So I'm going to have negative 6. And once I can't combine anything else, then this is going to be my answer. Okay, so that's subtracting. So remember, the only tricky thing is that negative. You can't forget to distribute your negative. Okay, so that's adding, subtracting. Next, we're going to do multiplying. So with multiplying, I'm going to get both of my functions. I'm going to FOIL them, combine like terms, and I'm going to get my answer. So I'm going to get my g of x, because that's my first one. So g of x is 2x minus 1. And I'm going to multiply that by my f function. So 3x plus 2. Right. So with this one, I'm just going to I'm just going to FOIL. So if you don't remember to FOIL, I first multiply my first terms. So 2x times 3x is going to give me 6x squared. And then I multiply my outer term. So 2x times 2 is going to give me a positive 4x. Next, I multiply my inner term. So negative 1 times 3x. And that'll give me negative 3x. And my last terms, negative 1 times 2, which will give me minus 2. Okay, so once I FOIL, now I'm just going to combine any terms that I need to combine. So I scan my polynomial. Remember, you're going to start from your highest degree, which is that x squared. So do I have any other x squared? No, that's my only one. So I'm going to write 6x squared. Next comes my regular x. You go down in power. So that makes negative 4x and minus 3x. So I'm going to combine those. And I'm going to get positive x and minus 2 because this is my only constant. Okay, so can I combine anything else? Nope. I already combined everything. So this is my answer when I multiply. Okay, my last one. My last one is division. So that's kind of another tricky one. So we're going to go over a couple of examples of division because you might have, yeah, those are kind of tricky. Okay, so I'm going to get my h of x and divide it by g of x. Okay, so my h of x is x squared plus 8. And I'm going to divide that by my g of x, which is 2x minus 1. Okay, so when we're looking at dividing polynomials, in these cases, you're going to ask yourself, is there anything out that I can factor out and cancel? So look at your numerator. Can you factor out an x? Well, you can factor out an x from x squared, but can you factor an x out of 8? No, right, because it doesn't have an x. So I can't factor out an x. I can't factor out a 2. If I can't simplify it anymore, then this is going to be my answer. So I'm going to put a little note right over here. So I cannot simplify further. So when you can't simplify further, that's going to be your answer. So let's look at a couple of examples of what it would look like if you can simplify. Okay, so let's see. Our first example. Let's say if I had 2x plus 2y divided by 6x plus 2y. Okay, here's a trick question. Can I cancel my 2y on the top and 2y on the bottom? And I hope you did not say yes. Since the top and bottom are being added, I can't cancel. I can only cancel if they're being multiplied. So I'm going to put a note right here. Only cancel when multiplied. That's the only time you can cancel. So this is what I mean by multiplied. So let's look at 2x plus 2y first. Let's look at the numerator. Is there anything that I can factor out? Well, yes, right? So I can factor out a 2. And on the inside, I'm left with x plus y. Okay, how about on my denominator? What can I cancel out? Or what can I factor out, sorry, in my denominator? I can cancel out a 2 as well. I can't, I keep saying canceling. I can factor out a 2 as well. I can't factor a 6 because I can't take 6 out of 2. That's going to give me a fraction, and I don't want to deal with fractions. Oh, why did I do that? Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm left with 3x plus y in the inside, right? Okay, so what can I cancel? Well, I can cancel my 2's. And what am I left with? 6 plus y over 3x plus y. So once I can't simplify any further, then this would be my answer. Okay, so that's one example. So let's look at another one. So let's say I have x plus 1 over x plus 1, x minus 1. Okay, what can I simplify here? Let's look at your numerator and the denominator. Okay, so remember you can only cancel when it's being multiplied. So since all up here, I'm going to put this all together. Maybe that will help you see it a little easier. I can actually cancel both of these. So what am I left with? On the top, don't say 0. I'm left with 1 over x minus 1. Okay, so that's what it would look like if you can simplify. Okay, but if you can't, then that's the way it stays. All right, so this was function operations. Function operations. So if you have any questions, just let me know when I get back or ask your group members. How about that?